remember when I received my IFA award, and I had gone there and I went up on stage, and uh, I was going to say a speech about my father. On that stage, it hit me that wait a second, Baba would have never been able to be Baba if Mama was not attending the PTMs, my annual days, my sports days. My Baba would have never been able to be who he was. Irfan would have never been Irfan if Shritapa wasn't who she was. तो भी like यार आप बहुत टैन हो गए हो सर, हमें हीरो चाहिए था. तो अरे हीरो टैन नहीं हो सकता. I would love to say that I don't care what people think about me, but that is such a lie. Like loss of a father, it was the loss of a friend. He was the person I spoke to about everything.
Hi Babil, welcome to season 4 of After Hours powered by Pulse.
Thank you.
I adore the work that you've done, especially in Kala. That's the first thing that I saw you in.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad to be having this chat with you.
No.
How are you feeling today? First, let's start with that.
I'm feeling, I was sick, and then I had COVID. I caught COVID a few years ago when it came, and since then, anytime I get sick, my body just goes into a.
But you're recovering now.
Yeah.
It's been
It
hectic.
doesn't matter if I'm sick. I'm here.
No, of course,
always
and I
show.
really appreciate you being here. But I think that promotions can be exhausting. Yeah.
Sometimes they're fun.
Yeah.
Some days are exhausting.
But how have the last few years been for you professionally?
Started off as very, very terrified, but taking the step to get in because I felt like there's a responsibility that I needed to, live up to.
Yeah, there's a legacy.
Yeah, and the biggest misconception that I used to have was that to make sure that I do good by the legacy is to live by the expectations of all the people that I felt responsible for. When Baba passed away, it was never a personal loss, it was always a collective loss.
Yeah.
So I always felt responsible to them. But I realized that the legacy was getting destroyed because I was living for their expectations. Because all my life, if there's one thing that I have been taught, it is to make sure that my individuality does not get affected by conformity, by the pressures and the fears and the anxieties and the insecurities that I have within me and that are imposed on me. And that is, I just literally did the opposite of that, and now I'm trying to find my way back.
But are you an intentional non-conformist, or is it that you just want to be authentic to who you are?
I think I am authentic in that moment, but we don't realize how much we manipulate ourselves till we're aware of it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, say you're in a friendship or a relationship, any kind of, human to human bond, and you don't even realize how manipulative a toxic friendship, right? There is a point where you start being aware of your own manipulations, like your mind, your intelligence, you start being aware of that, and then you can choose whether how to use that manipulation. Because say you could always use manipulation for good as well, like say you want to convince a charity to put money over there. So in a society that is governed by capitalism, where you need to manage so many egos, you need to also build a brand while staying authentic. So I guess manipulation can be a tool, but it is really important to be aware of how that's happening and the process of that.
That's very
in
well
your mind.
said, because as you said, we don't realize how much we are manipulating ourselves almost.
Yeah.
And it's not that one is intentionally a non-conformist, but I think the more you start discovering yourself, you realize that maybe there are many constructs you don't agree with. And maybe there are many constructs that you are not instinctively aligned to follow.
Is there a construct in your life or somewhere you've been feeling like you've been manipulative and you've moved on from that?
I feel like I, over the last few years, have only been trying to solve for the conundrum of the good woman.
Right.
So, like, growing up,
Yeah.
we are conditioned to believe what a good woman is.
Yeah.
Right? And somehow she's everything
Mm-hmm.
and she doesn't complain.
Mm-hmm.
And being sacrificial almost has a certain amount of nobility attached to it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Which is actually kind of like, it's strange almost.
It's very strange. So
Yeah.
imagine like our mothers,
Mm.
I think, was so deeply conditioned to be giving and sacrificial and find joy in that.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's noble to be sacrificial.
Yeah.
I think at
And
least
it's an idea imposed, right?
yeah, and I think our parents kind of grew up with, especially our mothers,
Mhm.
right? Like the good woman is sacrificial. The
Yeah.
good woman
Yeah.
spends all
Yeah,
her time
yeah,
raising her
yeah.
children. And
Yeah.
then when her children grow up and become successful, that's her success.
Yeah.
And I think if you ask a lot of women in their
Mm.
50s and 60s today, and if you don't see them as mums, but you see them as women,
Yeah.
and you ask them, are you actually happy in your life
Yeah.
with where you've ended up?
Yeah.
Surprisingly, a lot of them have said no to me.
Huh.
And they felt almost like I could have done so much more.
Yeah.
But I was so conditioned to be
Yeah.
this good woman,
Yeah.
which included being like a great
Yeah.
mom and a sacrificial wife and all of that. So I think that as a construct, I've been trying to understand a little better of what is the conundrum of what a good woman is to me.
I remember when I received my IFA award, and I had gone there and I went up on stage, and I was going to say a speech about my father, but I realized that the person sitting next to me, Baba had passed away,
Yeah.
but Mama had traveled all the way. And on that stage, it hit me. And I prepared this whole speech and everything. And on that stage, it hit me that, wait a second, Baba would have never been able to be Baba if Mama was not attending the PTMs, my annual days, my sports days, and I'm a needy child. Like I want that attention. You don't show up to my PTM, I will like create a ruckus at home.
Yeah.
So like my especially sports day, because I know I'm going to win that race. So it's like you don't show up for that. So I went up on stage. I realized that, and then in that moment, I just changed my speech to, the fact that Baba would have never been able to be who he was. Irfan would have never been Irfan if Shritapa wasn't who she was.
It's true. And
Yeah.
I think our mums don't get enough credit.
Yeah. And it's nothing. It's not about. I'm not even speaking about equality, disparity, feminism. Nothing. It's just the partnership, the bond of partnership, and what you're ready to sacrifice for a partner. You know what I mean? It's like now when he's gone, I keep trying to motivate her to write again. Yeah, so that's the thing, right? So as you said, most of the women that you've asked have said, no, I'm not happy. Well, now when I asked my mother, are you happy that you've, sacrificed so much? And she said, yes, because she knew that, she was aware of the fact that, that Baba would have never been Baba if it was not her. And also not just taking care of the kids and all of that. It was the fact that when Baba came back home with a good performance, she would critically scrutinize him and like properly break it down where he went wrong, where he did right, where he did well, and that would make him improve.
I remember, I think you mentioned it somewhere that she gave like a 17-page feedback for Pansing Tomar. What an iconic
That was an
film.
exaggeration,
Imagine.
but it was, for me, it was like hearing a 17-page essay only. Like, तुमने यहाँ ये किया, तुमने वो वहाँ किया, तुमने मुझे अच्छी लगी पिक्चर, पर तुम्हारी परफॉर्मेंस भी अच्छी थी, पर तुम ये आर्क ऐसे प्ले कर सकते थे, इसमें ये लेयर ला सकते थे, इतनी एक्ट, बाप रे बाप. मतलब at that time I was like, I'm never gonna be an actor. I swear.
The greatest critic is at home.
The greatest critic is at home, and the greatest actor is at home.
Yeah.
How do I find my space here?
That's
Forget
a tough spot to be in.
Yeah.
What did your mom think of Log Out?
She liked it. I was very surprised. Usually she's.
Why were you surprised? I loved it.
I'm Mama's. Because she's very brutally honest, because she needs to be with me, right?
Yeah.
And I ask her to be, and I need that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So usually she tells me that you've done well, but you have to improve here. But Log Out, she didn't say anything. She just like, wow.
It's a great film. You spoke about being a needy child, okay? And that is when I thought of this. Today, we're so dependent on social media, right, for validation.
Yeah.
We're talking about wanting support, wanting love, wanting a certain amount of security that we derive from people around us telling us that we are good. Where do you derive that validation from? Is that from social media, as your, let's say,
Yeah.
character does, or is it from the people around you? What makes you secure as a person?
It used to be, I mean, it still is to a great extent, and I'm trying to make that journey. But of course, you start off with not just social media, because I when I was growing up, like when I was 16, I didn't have social media as a means, but I needed my friends to accept me. It's the same as it's you just want to fit in, conform, be, just know that you're safe. It's a survival instinct almost,
Yeah.
to feel validated. But the truth is that individuality, and even according to Carl Jung, right, like, individuality will only ignite within you when you accept who you are, which means that you accept what you're ashamed of, that you deny,
That's a
and
tough one to do,
which
though.
is so tough. Yeah,
It's
I know
tough.
it's tough. It's really tough, and what you're guilty for, and all those things that you really don't want to admit about
Yeah.
yourself. But when you do, suddenly there's this sense of freedom. I'm not saying I've reached there. I'm just saying Carl Jung
Yeah.
said this, and I'm trying to go there.
No, but I find even apologies to be very liberating.
Yes.
I think if you
Yes.
get past
Mhm.
just that, like, thing that you have where your ego
Ego, pride, yeah.
is kind of stopping you from admitting that
Yeah,
you're wrong.
yeah.
But if you can just get past that moment,
It's so liberating.
it's so
and
liberating to
there's
say
so
you're
much love in
sorry.
that moment as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing how when you start to discover parts of your personality,
Mhm.
you realize that there's so much strength in fragility.
Yeah. Invulnerability. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Absolutely.
Especially if you can manage to do kintsugi with it. Every crack you pour in some gold, and then you're just like, wow, I'm really liking who this person is becoming.
Yeah, absolutely. So I won't take names, but there's a friend that I reconnected with, and because I've been coming to realizations about how I have treated people in the past without knowing.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was doing it at that time. I was, however manipulative I was being, whatever I was doing, I didn't know. But the moment I started feeling aware of it, I contacted her, and I told her that, like, I apologized very sincerely. I didn't expect a reply, but the fact,
Yeah.
she was so happy.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't realize till then that an apology could make somebody so happy if you're sincere about that apology.
Yeah.
And it takes a burden off the entire friendship, the entire bond. It kind of blooms.
The thing is, a sincere apology,
Yeah.
it reaches the other person.
Yeah.
The fake apology
It
just
really
really
doesn't.
doesn't.
Like,
So if you're just saying, I'm
Yeah, yeah.
sorry if I offended you, I'm like, no, you
No,
offended
no,
me
yeah.
and mean that
No,
sorry.
yeah, yeah. I think this is one of the ways with how we manipulate, right? I'm sorry I'm sorry you felt that way.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
I'm sorry for what I did that made you feel that
Exactly.
way.
I'm sorry for that. It's literally, you are not when you say I'm sorry you felt that way. So you're taking your actions and putting the responsibility on that.
Yeah.
Which is it's a great chess move.
It is a
It's a
great chess move.
manipulative
Yeah.
move,
Yeah.
which we don't even realize we're doing most of the time. So it's important to be aware of those manipulations, I think.
Yeah.
To form real connections, real bonds with people. It does.
Also,
Yeah.
like, again, like when I was watching the movie, right, we're talking, let's say your character is so heavily dependent on these kind of relationships that he
Mhm.
has, let's say, with his almost 10 million
Yeah.
followers,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And you're talking about real relationships. And I feel like today, in this day and age, how much are we even focusing on real relationships? Like, how much are we investing in being present with people, putting our phone away and saying, I'm here with you, I'm having this conversation, and I want to be there for
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
And suddenly, I was thinking the other day, I was like, I don't care for the grand gestures. I don't even care if you come and pick me up at the airport, but when you're sitting with me, don't be
Listen.
distracted. Just
Yeah.
listen.
Yeah.
Be like a good listener, be present. And I think that is so important. What do you do to make sure you are living in the present?
I hit the jackpot with my parents. It's just that I did not have the upbringing where I was introduced to a smartphone till I was 21.
Really?
Yeah.
Shocking.
And also they made a conscious effort. Right? I wanted a PlayStation, but I got Lego.
Hmm.
I was sent to a Rudolf Steiner education system. There was no IGCSE, ICSE for
Yeah.
me. And then from that, I went straight to IB and then I went to London. But yeah, so I never had that where I have to look at my phone or that addiction because I was lucky. But because of that, I could see my friends sitting around me at that time.
Hmm.
And we were all excited, like, let's chill this time at this guy's place.
Yeah.
Then we all reach and everybody's just on their phone
Yeah.
texting somebody else who's somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like, but we all decided to meet here. Why then?
I love that the internet connects you with people that you didn't think or ordinarily you wouldn't meet.
Yeah,
But I also hate that it takes you away from the people that are with you
that's
in that moment.
amazing. Did you write this before?
No.
Did you just think of that?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm gonna steal that.
Yeah, please take it.
Thank
All
you.
knowledge is borrowed. I'm sure I picked it
Yeah,
up from
all ideas are
all
inspired.
ideas are
Yeah.
inspired. But the um, thing that I really enjoy about social media is the fact that it gives you a dose of maybe inspiration, education and entertainment.
And a dose of dopamine as well.
A dose of that. But that's the
With every
dangerous dose
with
of.
every like. See,
Hmm.
yeah, that's the thing, right? Like social media, unfortunately, is designed to be addictive,
Yeah.
but it is upon our, it is our responsibility and it is our action towards it that can have a positive effect or a negative effect, no
Yeah.
matter how it's designed. Like whatever it is designed for, I can use it to spread creativity, to show facets of my life, different facets of my life to my audience, to express myself in a way which I can't in my profession,
Yeah.
and also at the same time promote.
Hmm.
We need funds to support our art, so we have
Yeah.
to raise those funds in
Yeah,
a way.
because now artists don't have patrons like they did back in the
Yeah,
day,
yeah,
right? You
yeah,
have
yeah.
to earn your living, so
Yeah.
whatever it takes. I
Yeah,
mean, what are you
yeah,
going to
yeah.
do about it?
That's the thing. Right? When I got told, it was so easy. Like the first month was so difficult, but then slowly that realization started hitting in that they are also running their page. No, like they got. I mean, it hurts, but it is putting food on their table. Like, how mad can I be about that?
No, but I think that's a very kind way to look at it. I don't think that
It
is.
hurt a lot, though. Like, I'm not saying that it didn't.
Yeah.
It,
No, if you can
yeah, yeah.
empathize with the trollers, I think that's a very kind
Also,
sort
I
of.
have this film. No, this film taught me a lot
Yeah.
about, because before this film, I used to be a little like, what is this world, right? And then I did the character and I realized that being an influencer is one of the toughest jobs in.
Pratman went through a lot.
Oh my god, yeah, but that was just one day of his, like, actually redemption journey.
Yeah.
But the job itself, like, you have to be switched on all the time, right? Like
I
all the
also
time.
feel like I think it must be so hard to draw the line between how much of you you're sharing,
Yeah.
how much of it stops being authentic.
How you plan all these questions? Like, you're hitting all the, like, what have you done?
It's just
Have you been briefed about something?
I have seen your film, so
Okay, cool.
yeah.
Okay,
But
cool.
I think it's almost disrespectful to have a conversation with someone and not know what they've done
Yeah.
or what they want to talk about.
Hmm.
Like if you're taking somebody's time,
Yeah.
then you should know what you have
Yeah.
to say. You
Yeah,
should.
yeah, you're killing it.
I'm glad you feel
I feel
so.
like, yeah, I feel like I feel less confident as a guest because you're so good. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. You're good.
No, I loved what you did
Yeah.
in the film, and I just feel like everything about it was. I think it's very sort of applicable to the generation
present
that
time.
exists
Yeah,
today.
yeah.
Everybody who is on the internet today, like
Yeah.
10-year-olds are on the internet today,
Yeah.
and I think it's very important to know
Mhm.
how chasing that number of followers and doing whatever it takes
Yeah.
to get that number can make
Yeah.
people quite miserable.
Yeah, you turn people into statistics. You turn people into numbers. Like, engagement basically turns people into numbers, right?
Yeah.
It's like that. If that one person who's really poured their heart out to you, but because it's one person, it wouldn't matter if it's 50,000 people that have liked,
Yeah.
but they're just saying, like, please like my comment. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm no disrespect, but it's just that it's strange how we will care more about the 50,000 because it's a number. But that one person who's poured their heart out to you, you would care less because it's just that environment, right? And I guess if we are aware of that, we could change our own actions in some
Yeah.
way, because of course what's outside of us cannot be controlled. Like,
Do you think content today is like diet? Like, I had this chat with,
I hate that word content.
yeah, but
Yeah.
like with
What
Sister
do you think?
Shivani.
Can may I ask you this
Yeah.
question? What do you think about this word content? Do you have a
I haven't thought
interpretation?
very deeply about it, and I
Yeah,
think like
yeah,
everybody else, I too have sort of echoed
mm-hmm.
whatever it stands for.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
everything is
yeah,
content.
yeah.
But yeah, I'll be honest, I haven't really given it a deep thought. What do you think? Why
I
should it not be content?
No, it's nothing like that. It's not like it should be or should not be. It's just my opinion of what
How would you better phrase it?
I just feel like it becomes an umbrella term and diminishes the quality of each thing that it puts under its umbrella, like films, books,
That's a fair observation. I'll take it.
everything becomes content,
Yeah, I agree.
So the integrity of each aspect, each pillar of that thing, it that drops in
Fair
that.
enough. And every art form is so different from the other that almost putting it together
Yeah,
seems unfair.
yeah,
I agree.
yeah,
Like books, writing in
yeah,
general for
yeah,
every sort of medium is so different.
yeah, yeah,
And to kind of put it in this
yeah.
one bucket of
Yeah.
content, yeah, okay.
Like if I write like I write poetry in my captions or wherever I write poetry, for anybody else that's still content. For me it's poetry. If I make a film, it's still content. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
that's what
No, okay, fair. And you're actually right.
hopefully.
Yeah, no,
Let's
I
see.
agree. But like Sister Shivani had said, that what we consume today,
Mhm.
whatever that might be, whether it's a podcast,
Yeah.
whether it's a movie, whether it's reels,
Mhm.
let's say that influencers are putting out, whatever we listen to today, it's almost like what we eat. It's like diet,
Yeah.
right? And it's what we're feeding ourselves, and it
Absolutely.
shapes how we think.
Absolutely.
Do you agree with that
I
notion?
completely agree with that. Completely. Because I remember there was a time when the first time YouTube Shorts came in.
Yeah.
Because I do spend a lot of time on YouTube because YouTube is a great way to research on things.
Yeah.
And but when the YouTube Shorts came in, like the first one would be about football, second one would be about my interest, third one would be about film, and then the random things would start. And I wouldn't even realize when I
Yeah.
started looking at the random things.
I'm saying hours would go by,
Yeah,
and you just don't know.
yeah. It's strange. It's like it's almost like sedation. It's like you sedate your mind to not feel for a bit.
Actually, that's a good way of putting it. It is
Yeah.
like sedation.
Is
That's why we invest so much time with it.
yeah. Just we just numb ourselves.
Hmm.
Don't want to feel anything.
Running away from
Yeah,
feeling what we
yeah.
should be feeling. But does that make you feel like there's a certain amount of responsibility that you want to attach to storytelling?
I take that responsibility and I try to do it as well as I can, even if it's a commercial film and it's masala, whatever it is, right? If it's very conventionally commercial, I'll try to do something. I'll try to bring my individuality to the table. I think that spark of individuality is dying, which is scaring me a little bit about humanity. It's
Yeah.
because of our desire and need for external validation. We and this has been happening for a long time, right? Like it's not just social media and phone that is like dadi bhi kehti thi na log kya kahenge, you know what I mean? Like that this thing has been going for a long time, but how that just makes everybody turn into this one body of like there are many people, but it's just one kind of thinking.
Yeah.
You know what I
दुनिया
mean?
का सबसे बड़ा रोग क्या कहेंगे बाकी सब लोग?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. But I feel like you were born into this life and you are given challenges, and you need to navigate through it with your own sense of understanding, own sense of perception, own sense of instinct, and own sense of gut and heart and love. But we choose to because it's scary, right? It's scary to be you.
Yeah.
It's scary to be
Because
yourself.
being you requires you to embrace things about yourself that you don't really
Exactly, like
like.
you said at the start, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but if you manage to do that,
Mhm.
it's just, I think, one of the most like
Yeah,
beautiful
yeah,
experiences, right? Like
yeah,
this self
yeah,
discovery is a
yeah.
beautiful experience.
Suddenly, the fear that we were feeling before, it doesn't overwhelm us anymore. The
Hmm.
moment that realization happens, that fear, the anxiety, we can watch it from a distance. It is there, but it's
Hmm.
not us. Like, say, it doesn't attach to our identity. Like, I will not be anxious, anxiety will be there, right?
Well said. Well said.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I said that. I might, this just
No,
came
but
so
well
strong.
said. It's
So
true. It's true. What are some of your greatest insecurities, Babil?
it used to be my face early on in, because I used to really look up to conventional faces. Like,
But you're a handsome man.
I realize that now. It's very late to form self-esteem now. But it's like when I was younger, I used to look at these really good-looking boys, these conventionally good-looking boys, and I because I was conforming. No,
The
I
Ritik
was
Roshans and
yeah.
the
I was conforming. I was conforming to what I'm being told, that this is good and this is bad and this is what works and this doesn't. And so I was, from since I was born, since a child is comes into this world, he's being told, like, she's like, they are being told that, this you have to be like this, you can't be like this, and all those
this
conditionings,
is a
they
good
become
color
burden.
of skin.
Hmm?
Imagine
Yeah, yeah,
skin
yeah.
color is
And I
always just
love,
pink. Yeah.
that's the thing, right? Like, I come back from scuba diving, and then suddenly,
Hmm.
somebody who's working with me on a film,
Yeah.
it'd be like, यार आप बहुत टैन हो गए हो सर, अब हमें हीरो चाहिए था। तो अरे हीरो टैन नहीं हो सकता क्या
हीरो
यार?
स्कूबा डाइविंग करके आया यार.
मुझे तो मेरे को मेरे को अच्छा लगता है ये।
हाँ. बट यू नो लाइक दैट्स द थिंग, मतलब सोशल मीडिया का एक और ये डिसएडवांटेज मुझे लगता है कि ब्यूटी स्टैंडर्ड्स बड़े अजीब से हमने सेट करे, एंड आई थिंक
हाँ,
दे बीन रीइंफोर्स्ड फार मोर सिंस
yeah,
सोशल मीडिया इज
yeah,
काइंड ऑफ कम इनटू प्ले. लाइक
mhm,
पहले हम सिर्फ मैगजीन्स में देखते थे ना,
yeah,
लाइक या फिल्म में देखते थे कि
yeah,
वट एवर आर दीज कन्वेंशंस ऑफ
yeah,
दिस इज अ ग्रेट लुकिंग पर्सन,
yeah,
राइट? बट अब हम हर मिनट हर घंटे वही देख रहे
yeah.
हैं.
And we're always comparing
We're
ourselves.
always, and you know, comparison is the thief of joy. So everybody is basically now just supremely insecure in their body type,
Yeah,
and supremely insecure about you know, the color of their skin
yeah,
or how
yeah,
they're
yeah, yeah,
looking.
yeah,
And I feel like in that sense, social media has really just made everyone feel almost like a lesser version of
yeah, yeah.
themselves.
And it's all false.
It's all false. और सारे
That's the
अब एक ही
thing.
जैसे दिख रहे हैं. मुझे
Yeah,
ऐसे लग रहा है कि कोई अलग दिखता ही
and
नहीं है.
also that is not what's actually happening, right? Like, it's like, say,
Yeah.
somebody posts something from, they're at this place and they're doing this, doing that, but they were at this place 4 months ago and they're using that photo because they don't feel like,
Yeah.
they feel like competing with other people's lives, which is,
It's
it's
bizarre.
bizarre.
It's bizarre. I know people, and I mean, not people, I actually know only one person, so I shouldn't exaggerate.
Yeah.
But I know someone who has basically on social media pretended to
Hmm.
be on like ski trips and stuff
What?
like that.
Wait, how is that possible?
Because you take pictures off of Pinterest and
No.
you put it up in your stories.
But
And so let's say we're a group of friends
yeah,
and a couple of us are discussing, oh, that, you know, his trip looks amazing.
yeah,
And the other friend is like, but I just saw him like literally yesterday. And it was basically just discovery that the extent to which you would pretend
yeah.
to just
Just to
get,
conform to that image. Yeah, 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 yeah,
it's crazy.
yeah. And the whole thing is like, you've abandoned who you are, and
Yeah.
now you're serving this identity, that this image, not identity, this image
Yeah.
that is formed completely based on what you feel about other people's lives,
Yeah.
and you've completely abandoned yourself somewhere. It's lost, and to get back to that takes so much effort, which we deny. We usually tend to not try to make, you
Yeah.
know. It's yeah, it is
What?
what it is though. But you can
Yeah.
only control your actions, right? Like, you can only, what can you preach and
What are the parts of your personality that you discovered in resonance with the character that you played when
barrier,
he's yeah.
this like the fact that how much I would love to say that I don't care what people think about me, but that is such a lie. Like
I love the
it's so
honesty.
false.
It's true.
Honestly, like I really desire external validation, and I don't want to. So that I don't resonate with the social media part and the phone part. I'm not connected to that, but the soul of that character, right? The desire for wanting to be noticed, wanting to
Mm,
be liked, wanting to be, just for him, they are everything. That
yeah.
image is everything. And when that breaks, all,
It shatters him.
yeah, he's confronted by who he really is.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's a scary sort of proposition, this idea that like within moments you almost see yourself in the mirror and you're like, oh my God, how did I not see this side of
Yeah.
me all of these
Exactly.
years that I've
Yeah,
known
yeah,
myself?
yeah, yeah. And this much guilt, like, yeah, man. Like, only a day before yesterday, I was thinking about that. The way I've unknowingly treated some people in my life, just,
Mm.
I didn't even know I was doing that. Like, s- guilt tripping or something like that. You
Mm.
get you get emotional with somebody, you get toxic
Yeah.
with somebody, and everybody's been in a toxic relationship. I think so. If
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that side told me a lot. He took a long breath, but yeah,
The thing is, there's so much pain in this world
yeah,
that at some point in time, you're going to be confronted by someone who
yeah,
is holding on to that pain.
yeah,
And at some point in time,
yeah,
you're either going to be the doer or the recipient of, like only hurt people, right? So
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
whoever's holding on to a lot of
yeah.
pain, they at some point in time are going to project it onto you.
Mm-hmm,
So वो toxicity तो फिर वहाँ
mm-hmm,
आ ही जाती है ना.
yeah.
How can you escape that?
Okay, may I ask you something?
Please.
Have you enjoyed those toxic?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
I've
Did you
I've
feel trapped?
exited
Did
rather
you feel
quickly.
Yeah?
Yeah, yeah,
You've been able to do that? Hats off, man. Hats off.
yeah.
That's a huge thing. Like to be able to do that way early on
Hmm.
without letting it. Of Your eyes are telling me some different story.
No, genuinely. I'll tell you. The thing is that thankfully, as a part of my growing up and my parenting, I think my parents really allowed me to feel immense self worth.
Wow.
So they were always very reassuring, very loving,
Mm.
and they always told me that I was worthy.
Yeah.
So, when you're maybe in a relationship,
Mm.
and I would say only one of mine,
Mm.
where the other person makes you feel unworthy,
Yeah.
but deep
But
down
deep
you're
down,
worthy,
yeah, yeah.
then why would you stick around to be
Yeah.
told that you're not?
Perhaps because you're at that point in your life, perhaps you need that specific validation from that person.
हाँ, मुझे ये समझ
आप
है.
जब वो समझ आ गया
this,
कैसी सी है.
this, I don't stand for this.
That's great. That's actually really that's admirable. Like you, that's hats off to you, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've usually let
No,
people.
but I think
Yeah.
again, so much of it is. So I was lucky; I was never bullied. Right? Like
Hmm.
a lot of people go through very
Yeah,
traumatic
I've been.
experiences in
Yeah,
their
I've been
childhood.
bullied.
So I was never bullied. I was never hit. I was never. So everything that can almost make you vulnerable.
Yeah.
Thankfully, those were not things I experienced. But that's such a. I got dealt a very good hand.
It's strange. Like I mean, of course, I'm from a privileged family, all of that, but I got bullied, and I have lots of insecurities, no friends, a lot of loneliness. But I feel like if I didn't have that, I would be screwed
Yeah.
because I don't think I'd be able to indulge in art like I can
Yeah.
without my
True.
adversities. So
But I think these are really they're almost necessary evils for artists.
yeah. But I'm
टूटे
kind of
दिल से
envious.
art निकलता है.
But we're like I'm kind of envious because you are comfortable with with being like यार मुझे फर्क नहीं पड़ता.
बट
but
थोड़े टाइम के बाद आता है बाबिल, हमेशा ऐसे नहीं होता है,
हाँ,
बट आई
but
थिंक
मैं नहीं कर सकता ना वो, मुझे वो
आपका भी हो
उसको
जाएगा.
स्टोर करना, but I have to keep
हाँ,
like,
बट
you know,
यू
when what scene comes, I don't know.
see,
I'll have
you
to
have to
use
peel
something.
parts of you to
Yeah,
create art.
yeah,
I have to keep myself cemented to create business.
yeah,
It's different,
yeah. Well,
you know.
yeah.
So whatever works. I'm not encouraging bad
Yeah, no,
experiences
I was
for
just
you.
thinking like, should I quit? I should is business better? No, no, yeah, yeah.
No,
But I'm just envious that, you know, sometimes I feel like
yeah,
the fact that yes, I do feel lucky that I get to indulge and I get to explore myself to a degree where I can evolve and I can, you know, do what I feel like life wants me to do. But sometimes you just want to chill, you know.
listen, it's exhausting having your act together.
Yeah, but
It's
yeah,
exhausting.
yeah, yeah. And the thing is, the world keeps telling you like, oh, work hard, work hard, work hard, work hard. But they never say that take a break so
Yeah,
that you can work harder.
yeah.
You know, rest is so important. We
Rest
never,
is very important.
yeah, and good rest.
Good rest.
I don't think I've got good rest in like 6 years or something.
I also feel like in general, I think a very significant loss in your life
Yeah,
has
yeah,
changed
yeah,
it
yeah. Definitely,
pretty much
definitely,
180, I'm sure.
definitely.
And that was
360
hmm,
into a different, like,
realm.
yeah,
And it's a tough experience to
yeah,
go
yeah. It's
through.
yeah, yeah.
I can't even imagine.
It's more than the protection and the more than just the father. You know, the loss of a
Yeah.
father. It was the loss of a friend.
Hmm.
And anyways, I did not have, and I've always had a very close, I've been social, I'm great at parties, but when it comes to friends and the people I speak to, it's like
Minuscule.
yeah, 1 2 people, right? So like
Mhm.
he was he was the person I spoke to about everything.
Well, I mean, I think
I'm having such an honest conversation, like I'm really liking this, like there's no
I'm so
agenda,
glad.
I'm just having a great conversation
I'm
with
having a
you.
great time chatting with you. I think it's very rare to actually find people you find an immediate connect with, and
Yeah,
and
I think
I'm really
you
enjoying
say this to all
myself.
your guests.
Huh?
Do you say this to all your
No,
guests? Really?
my team will attest to it.
I don't. I'll watch your. I'll watch your other episodes.
No, no, really, really. But not every conversation almost even steers in this direction. But
Mhm.
whoever's willing to kind of and I think it's always give
Yeah,
and take of
yeah,
energy.
yeah.
So you
And
know,
yeah, and you have you have a profound way of thinking about it as well. And the fact, and I just admire the fact that you can cut off. Because I
I love.
can't.
I
Yeah,
want respect for getting
dude,
out of
that's
toxicity.
hats off, man. Like it's so important to learn how to cut off from a toxic friendship, relationship,
Yeah.
whatever it is, from toxicity, right?
You know, but I've realized like some people come in your life for a
Yeah,
reason, some come for a season, and it's okay.
yeah, yeah,
They
yeah,
serve a
yeah.
purpose and it's okay if they
You're right.
leave.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
You
You
move
just yeah,
on. It's like everybody's a co-passenger, no?
yeah, yeah,
The
yeah,
bus is going, it's your
yeah,
journey.
yeah,
It's nice if somebody comes and sits with you for a while.
yeah.
Some will come and sit with you till the end. Some will
Mhm.
get off at the next stop. It's okay.
Yeah,
So long as you can cherish whatever that
yeah. That moment
was,
was yeah.
chalega.
That's a good way. Yeah, I'm going to do my best to imbibe that in my
पर यू
life.
नो इसी के वजह से मुझे बहुत सारे लाइक न्यू एज कल्चर्स नहीं समझ आते लाइक
Mm,
आई डोंट अंडरस्टैंड I'll be honest, I don't understand the concept of dating apps. I've never been
mm,
on one.
yeah.
I feel like we almost reduce people to
Mm,
like
the
stats. And
yeah,
I'm just like, but I'm a stories person. I'm not
yeah,
a stats
yeah,
person. You
yeah,
know, I don't understand these
yeah,
things like ghosting
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. And it's
what
like
is all
these
this?
are my interests. It's like a job resume. It's like
Yeah.
like what? These are my interests. This is what I want to do.
Meeting someone should be like you saw
Yeah,
them, you felt like getting
yeah,
into a conversation with them,
yeah,
you spoke to them and you felt something.
yeah,
You should feel things,
yeah,
no?
yeah. I, that's why I can't operate on a phone because I don't feel anything. Like
Hmm.
I need to feed off the energy of the person. I need to know what they're feeling. I need to look at the micro expressions. I need to just
Yeah.
understand what I need. That connection, that human connection, I feel like is getting way lost. You know, and
But as a young brooding man, what is your take on
young brooding man.
of
Thank you.
course, young brooding man. What
I
is
love
your
that.
take on modern day love? Like what it has become?
I think a lot of romance has been lost in the chase is not there anymore. You know what I mean? Like it's
Mm.
like that chase is very important, I think, in the forming of
Yeah.
the
In the initial
culmination
phase.
of everything, and you
Yeah.
know, the intentions have changed.
I think emotional intimacy has taken a backseat.
Yeah.
And I think so much of it has become about physical
Yeah.
intimacy
Yeah.
and very quick validation.
Yeah. And
But you know, this thing of multiple people at the same time, let's say
I
even
do-
dating,
what do
वो
you
भी
think about that?
validation के लिए ही तो होता है.
बट आप क्या सोचती हैं उनके बारे उसके बारे में? मैं नहीं कर पाता हूँ
मेरे से तो
मल्टीपल.
बिल्कुल ही नहीं होता है.
मैं एक
I am
I'm a one
like
person.
full on
Full on one,
monogamous.
yeah, same, dude.
This
And it's
what
so
is this?
hectic. Yeah,
एक तो मेरे पास वैसी टाइम नहीं है.
हाँ,
ऊपर से मुझे फीलिंग कैसे आ सकती है मल्टीपल पीपल के लिए एट द सेम
exactly.
टाइम.
और मैं आपको, हाँ यार,
एक ही तो दिल है, कितने लोगों को दोगे? मतलब
तुम आप, हाँ,
नहीं होता.
हाँ.
मुझसे तो नहीं होता.
No, yeah, same.
You know, for me, romance is like, and I'll actually quote one of the
Yeah,
scenes
let's go.
from one of your dad's films.
Let's do this.
Okay, and in Piku, I remember I love Piku, right?
That's
It's
the
one of the
chase,
best
right?
films.
Yeah.
Nahi, chase nahi, but you know, there's this scene where
Mhm.
Sir sits in the car and he tells her, you know, you should meditate because you have a mental
He
family.
doesn't sit in the car. He's outside the car.
Yeah, and then he
He's
gets
leaving
in
the car,
and he
yeah.
says, "मैं phone करूँगा." And I think that's one of the most romantic things ever. Just that simple line, मैं
And-
phone करूँगा.
And nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
They just play badminton, and that, you know what? In the start of the film, when the maid leaves the house, right?
Yeah.
She just says that I'll come back when you have somebody in your
Yeah.
life, and then there is no physical. You
Yeah.
don't have to show anything. He just says, "मैं call करूँगा." He leaves, and the maid comes. You know what I mean? It's
It's
it just
beautiful
shows.
writing, and it shows that emotional intimacy trumps everything.
Yeah.
But you know, like in that sort of equation,
Mhm.
let's say between the character that Deepika plays and your
Yeah,
dad plays,
Piku.
one, it's one of my
Yeah.
favorite films in the world. But you know, there's this quote that says, "It's beautiful to be loved, but it's profound to be understood."
Yeah.
And I think that is what we lack. Understanding the other person, you know, of course it's great to be loved. I think romance is great, but to understand what they need, like let's say, you know, when they're interacting and she says मैं तुम्हें irritate कर रही हूँ and he's fixing something and he says मेरे में बहुत patience है,
Yes, it's so.
मेरी patience बहुत
Yeah.
अच्छी है or something like that, and I'm just like, that's understanding.
And then she says something. About like तुम्हें कोई मिलेगा नहीं या something like that. It's like about like कोशिश करूंगा तो मिल जाएगा. It's just. That's such a
Iconic.
beautiful scene.
It's
He's
a
fixing
beautiful
her
love.
generator.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
that is love to me.
Yeah, the same. It's not about like. It's not about it starts so way before physics. Even like you hold hands. It's just the ideas you're sharing
Yeah.
and the connection of those ideas and whether you're listening or not. You know.
Yeah,
If
that's
you're-
what it is. It's being present.
Yeah.
It's not sitting and being on your phone at the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
time. Like,
And the thing is like a lot of the times we listen, but we're only listening to be able to give a reply. If that, I don't consider listening, you know.
fair enough.
It's like you listen, just listen.
Yeah.
If a reply comes, you reply. If the person needs a reply, you reply. Otherwise, you just listen.
Yeah.
And that is the only way to understand somebody, I
Yeah.
think.
Babil, what do you do to unwind after us? How do you just
I
chill
make
and relax?
music. I really need to make music, like, because it's a cathartic process, and that's why I have been told to take it into a professional lane, but I don't want to do that yet because it is something so personal to me and something that I really need to keep to myself. Sometimes I post on my feed, like I'll sing something, but usually when I'm like actually making music, I keep it to myself. Like,
I'm very envious of artists, you know, because you guys can monetize your like heartbreaks. हम लोग नहीं कर सकते ना.
Yeah, I write also
You
like that.
go
Yeah.
through a heartbreak and you
I have
write
to write
about.
a poet.
Yeah.
You take my crooked smile with you when you leave.
Yeah. So, you know, like you can write a book tomorrow and you'll make money off it. Like, what are people like us supposed to do?
You're already doing it, man. you're bringing a guest and opening their heart up. What is
पर मेरी पेन तो नहीं हो रही ना monetize.
आपकी पेन को क्यों monetize करना है आपको? I wish I didn't have to do that. I wish I could move on from my pain.
That's true.
But that's why I said I was envious of you, because you can probably move on.
Yeah, I can.
I have to keep a certain, since I am also I have so many doubts about my skills in acting, right? Like I have to, like,
You shouldn't. You're good.
yeah, but I'm also 26 years old.
हाँ,
like,
तो for that you're very good, यार.
Yeah, but I have to learn so much more before I can say that, okay, I don't need these
tools anymore.
Yeah, I don't need to go through the pain. I can express the pain without
It goes from art to craft, basically. You need to get to the craft.
I think it goes to a balance between the two. I think right now even though I know a little bit of the craft and the mechanics of it, and the riyaz of it, I'm more on the art side, where I will go through the pain if I need to go through the pain. I'll actually really, really cry, and really, really, if the scene requires that. I think Anup Singh is the director of Song of Scorpions and Kissa and films, really beautiful films, and he said something very cool, very deep, cool, very profound, where he said that when Nusrat Saab sings, you can see him throw pain and throw all kinds of emotions, but he's not going through it at that time.
He's reliving it.
Yeah, he's already been through it.
Yeah.
Now he's just playing with that, playing with that experience.
But I think artists need to lead rich lives for that reason.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why when anybody asks me, especially in this promotion, when they ask me like, how important do you think it is to log out? If you're an artist, you need you need to have a time to log in. You should be logged out, because you need other aspects in your life. Like if I didn't have scuba diving in my life, I would have never learned how to breathe in a way which can
calm you.
Really, just center me, and let me feel who I am. Let me sit in silence with myself. I would never be able to do that if it was not for scuba diving, and I would never be able to sing as well if I didn't learn how to breathe, which also connects to that. So it's like a domino effect, and I feel like you have to have this kind of a life outside.
Yeah, you need to live it outside to be able to live it on camera.
And usually we try to put that on a person, like fill that void with a person, and that then becomes toxic.
But okay, last question, and then we're going to play a game, and then we're going to end this.
Yeah.
Okay. Done. And the last question that I want to ask you is, because Abhi, you said you put it on a person. I want to ask you, Babil, what is the kind of person who actually you find attractive? Like, who gets your pulse racing?
Someone that I can laugh with. Yeah, someone that makes me laugh as well. Like, I'm not the only one making them laugh. I really like. Yeah, somebody I can laugh with. Like really laugh with, and they make me laugh. And because I'm kind of weird, like, and I have, it's just that there are when you connect with the person, nobody in the room understands why you two are laughing.
Yeah.
And that is so cute and beautiful, and I think that really connects you with the person.
This is reassuring, because you laughed so much over here, so now I know you've had a good time.
But I genuinely did laugh though, yeah. And this has been a very I told you I'm not flattering you.
Thank you.
This has been honest.
I've had a great time too. We're going to quickly play a game, and it's called Pulse Check Logout Edition, since we are promoting Logout, this amazing movie that I want all of you to watch.
Pulse, apparently.
Yeah. And so while scrolling Babil, you accidentally like a 3-year-old photo of your ex at 2 a.m. What would you do?
I would never. If she's my ex, I'm anyways in pain. Why would I go stalk her? It would put me in so much more pain.
हाँ, अभी खत्म तो खत्म मारो गोली.
Yeah, वैसे ही मेरा वैसे ही खत्म तो खत्म.
Ajay, you receive a DM from a fan claiming they've got exclusive footage from your shoots. What would you do?
From my shoots?
Yeah, the movie that you're shooting.
Exclusive
उनको कुछ मिल गया है, BTS type, you know.
What they release के पहले और मैंने NDA sign कर रखा है. तो
हाँ.
मैं प्रोड्यूसर को बोलूंगा सर हैंडल करो ये क्या हो रहा है.
ठीक है. You have the option to hack a producer's phone. Whose phone would you hack to give yourself a role?
Not to give myself a role, but I would hack Ronnie Da's phone, Shujit Da and Ronnie Da's phone, because his music library, which he does not share, is
He gatekeeps music.
dude. I'm telling you because it's precious. Like he has
It's worth
gems in there,
gatekeeping.
yeah, and he has hidden gems. Like nobody can find that music
चलो, if you
anywhere.
find them, मेरे साथ भी share करना.
100%. Oh, Ronnie Da would.
We don't have to tell him, na, this is between us. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
You accidentally post spoilers from your upcoming film
Oh
on
God,
Instagram.
don't do that
You
to
pull a
me.
Tom Holland, basically. Yeah.
I literally said in an interview
Yeah.
day before yesterday. I
Yeah.
don't. Am I being the Tom Holland of India? Like,
Yeah.
because I think I did reveal some things, but hopefully they cut it out. But what do you say?
What
have
would
I
you
ever?
do?
Have I? What would I do
What
if I?
if you've pulled a Tom Holland, what would you do? Apologize.
Yeah. Sorry.
हो गया, गलती से हो गया. अच्छा, one of your old tweets or interview resurfaces picking up something controversial. ये तो हो चुका है. This is happening.
तो होता रहता है तो हर वक्त
What
होता है.
would you do, Babil?
I don't do. मतलब कि कोई कुछ हो गया और कंट्रोवर्सी हो गई. क्या उसको फोन बंद करके स्कूबा डाइविंग चला जाऊंगा और क्या. What else
वो
to
वैसे भी
do?
24 आवर साइकिल में चला ही जाएगा, तो ठीक
हाँ,
है.
मतलब बट आप उसको कितना ही भाव दो. मतलब if you've really messed up, then you need to figure out, like, if you messed up as a human being,
Yeah, actively if you've done
yeah,
something.
then you need to
Yeah.
figure out like what you've done,
Yeah.
repent on that, and
Introspect.
yeah, introspect, reflect,
Yeah.
and just try to figure out what it is that is guiding you, what you need to do to become better. But
Otherwise, just relax.
otherwise, if it's not your fault, if it's something that is just,
if it's somebody else's opinion of you, then the burden of that is theirs,
yeah,
not
yeah,
yours.
then you just
Move on.
yeah.
Great chat, Babil. Thank you for coming. Pleasure meeting you. Really enjoyed the film and look forward to everything else that you're going to be doing super soon.
Yeah, the masala just hit because it cracked the moment you were saying that, because I swallowed the masala. It's gonna cough.
But it's a good candy.
I love Pulse. I've been
Yeah.
having Pulse like since I was.
Yeah.
Pulse was my chatpata candy.
Yeah. Same. But thank you for coming and you've been amazing and all the very best. I look forward to everything else that's going to come out.
For sure.
And seeing you super
And
soon.
I hope we get to do more podcasts, man.
Yeah.
This was awesome.
We have a little present for you since you like Pulse candy.
You
can...
But there's no Pulse in it. No,
there's a lot of Pulse in this.
There's 3 packets. There's 4 packets.
And do we want to say, guys, watch Logout on Z5?
Yeah.